It was a gloomy evening when Sarah decided to visit the old abandoned mansion at the edge of town. Curiosity had always been her driving force, and tonight, it led her into the heart of darkness. The mansion, shrouded in legends of hauntings and ghostly apparitions, loomed before her like an ominous sentinel. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. Dust motes danced in the beams of her flashlight, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the distant sound of dripping water. Sarah moved cautiously through the grand hallway, her footsteps echoing in the empty space. She had heard stories of the mansion's former owner, a reclusive widow named Mrs. Whitmore, who had lost her mind after her husband and children mysteriously vanished. Some said she still roamed the halls, searching for her lost family. Others claimed that something far more sinister resided within the mansion's walls, a malevolent presence that fed on the fear of intruders. As Sarah explored the mansion, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Shadows seemed to shift and move just beyond the reach of her flashlight. Her breath quickened, and she found herself glancing over her shoulder more and more frequently. She stumbled upon a grand staircase leading to the upper floors and decided to ascend. Each step groaned under her weight, and the banister felt cold and slick under her hand. At the top of the stairs, she discovered a long corridor lined with doors. One door, slightly ajar, caught her attention. She approached cautiously and pushed it open. The room beyond was a child's nursery, untouched by time. A rocking chair creaked gently in the corner, and a dusty playroom lay abandoned. As Sarah stepped further inside, she heard the faint sound of a music box playing a haunting lullaby. Her pulse raced as she followed the sound to a small, dust-covered music box on a shelf. She reached out to touch it, and the music abruptly stopped. The room plunged into darkness, and a cold breeze swept through, chilling her to the bone. Panic set in as she fumbled for her flashlight. In the darkness, she heard a whisper, barely audible, "Leave this place." Sarah's hands trembled as she turned on the flashlight, its beam cutting through the darkness. She spun around and saw a figure standing in the doorway, its eyes gleaming with unnatural light. It was Mrs. Whitmore, or what remained of her. Her face was gaunt, and her eyes hollow, filled with an insatiable hunger. With a scream, Sarah bolted from the room, her heart pounding in her ears. She raced down the stairs and through the hallway, not daring to look back. The mansion seemed alive, the walls closing in around her as she fled. She burst through the front door and into the night, not stopping until she reached the safety of her car. As she drove away, she glanced back at the mansion. It stood silent and foreboding, its secrets still locked within its walls. Sarah knew she would never return, but the memory of Mrs. Whitmore's eyes would haunt her forever.